Okay, and welcome back to the final day. So we're doing the final two questions today and a couple of nice questions, definitely both quite challenging. Let's just jump straight into it. So 5 minutes I recommend, no more than 5 minutes, and even that's a bit generous. So first question coming up in 3, 2, 1. So as I'll often point out when you see me talk about these sorts of questions, it says an integer number of pounds. That feels like that may be relevant somewhere, but let's carry on anyway and let's see what happens. So it tells me a cherry pie costs the same as 2 apple pies. So I'm going to call C cherry and A apple. So cherry pie equals 2 apple pies. A blueberry pie costs the same as 2 damson pies. So blueberry equals 2 damsons. So far, not very informative. Then it says a cherry pie and 2 damson pies cost the same as an apple pie and 2 blueberry pies. Well, that sounds like an equation to me. And I can substitute in. Now at this stage, I want to work out what I want to substitute out. So I'm going to remove, or I'm going to substitute out the C's and the D's. So I know that C is 2A, and I know that 2D is equal to B. So I can just write this therefore as 2A plus B equals A plus 2B. And do some cancelling, and that implies that A equals B. Now see what's happening here. I managed to write everything in terms of A, which will then allow me to work something out a bit later on. That's what I'm really trying to do. Let's think about what the question wants. Paul buys one of each type of pie. How much could he spend? Now the word could is important here because it's going to be a multiple of this number. So anyway, what do I need to know? I need to know A plus B plus C plus D. I do know already that A is A, and I know that B, well, I've worked it out from down here, is equal to A as well. I know that C is equal to 2A, and because I know that A is equal to B and B is equal to 2D, well, therefore it must be the case that D is equal to half of A. And that's it. I've managed to get everything in terms of A, which is fantastic. So what do I do with this? So it says 9 over 2A. Well, 9 over 2A must be divisible by 2 because A must have a minimum of 2 such that I can halve it to work out half of A. So therefore 9 lots of the smallest number that A can be is 2. 9 times 2 is 18. And so therefore the answer to this one is going to be B, which is 18. Nice question as ever. Let's see where we go with the last one. The last one's a bit of a horrible question. Give yourself some time. It's come up in 3, 2, 1. So this question's a difficult question. A lot of it is making sure you've got the diagram correct, because actually after that it's not terrible, but it's quite hard unless you've worked out what's going on. So someone's planning to garden patio, identical squares. Now I'm going to call the squares 1 by 1 because that just makes everything easier. And the squares are X by Y. So the paving stones go around the patio. She finds that when she adds a border of width 1 stone, so I'm going to add an extra stone on each side. So let's just try and pull that up quickly. So the patio is X by Y stones. And again, let's let the width and the length equal 1 because that makes the whole numbers much easier. No one says I can't, it's just a factor of that. Now what do I know? Well, I know if I put a border around the patio that I have, that border is going to be X plus another X plus a Y plus a Y plus a corner, 1 in each space. So in other words, the border is going to be equal to 2x plus 2y plus 4. Remember that each square has an area of 1. And that from the question tells me that the area of the border is equal to the area of the original patio, and that is x times y. So I've got an equation, and I like equations because equations mean I can solve it. So a little bit of rearranging, that tells me that x minus 2x minus 2y equals 4. Now, in the back of my head, I'm thinking about this equation here. And I would like this equation to work. So if I could factorize as x minus 2y minus 2, and I know x and y are both integers, because they must be, because it's a whole number of patio slabs, then I can solve other things by looking at factors. The problem I've got is x minus 2 times y minus 2 is xy minus 2y minus 2x plus 4, which is not quite what I've got. So what I could do is make this left hand into that. So in other words, if I add a 4 to both sides, then they cancel each other out, that's fine. And that means I can write x minus 2, y minus 2 is 8. I know that these two must be integers. What are the factor pairs of 8? Well, it's 1 and 8 and 2 and 4 and 4 and 2 and 8 and 1. So in other words, it could be that x is a number that gives me 1, or x is a number that gives me 2, or x is a number that gives me 4, and vice versa for y. So therefore there are 4 factor pairs, or 4 values of x that will get me there. So the answer to this one is C. Difficult question at the end, but actually not terrible if you get the diagram correct. Well done if you made it today. As I say, if you've done the whole series and you've got more than 100 marks correct, so see the front screen, so 5 for the first question, 6 for the later questions and negatively marked, well done, because that is a genuinely high standard across the country. As ever, do leave a comment, let me know how you've done, and like the video. Have a go at the whole series because there's some interesting questions there. Thanks all, bye.